Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and this one is for, in my mind anyways, is for like a traveling author. So I'm thinking that this sim like does a lot of traveling in order to like write really cool books and stuff like that. So it is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, but it has like a really large office in it as well. And I wanted it to be this like kind of eclectic, eccentric home, if that makes sense. Like they bring home stuff from all their travels and all of that kind of good stuff. And I will say I started this over on my Twitch channel. The link is down below if you ever want to come hang out with us. And that stream was so chaotic. We did not get very far, like at all. Like I think we put these walls up and I think I got to the point where I did a little bit of the kitchen, and then like we had been streaming for like 2 hours, and that is all I got done. It was so insane, but we had such a good time. And and so I ended up actually finishing this on my own as part of kind of some of the pre-recording that I mentioned that I was doing. So that's part of those videos. And so if you saw my last video, this is one of the ones that the sim caught the apartment on fire when I was trying to actually take screenshots. So that's really fun. And this isn't the one that I actually have a screenshot for it, but anyways, just know that stuff did catch on fire and I had to replace it. So, in the back of your mind, you just know that. And this is already up on the Sims 4 gallery if you would like to download it under my ID, Spice and Sprinkles, all one word, all lowercase, and down in the description if you want to see it written out. And per usual, I mean, use it however you want to. And like, let me know if you decide to use it and like, what your storyline is for your Sims. And obviously, you don't need to make it like a traveling author or anything like that. That's just kind of the story I had in my mind when I was thinking about what was in here. And I don't know why, I guess I found that like doorway, the archway that had that really deep green and that really pretty brown color in it. And that basically just decided like what we were doing. And I decided to like layer some rugs and have kind of a bunch of different patterns and things. Again, thinking this is stuff maybe they picked up while they were like traveling and all that kind of good stuff. And we end up having like a huge bathroom, and I really do actually like the way the bathroom turned out in this build. And I struggled a lot with the kitchen before I stopped streaming, and I think it sounds really weird, but I think doing the bathroom helped me decide what I wanted to do in the kitchen because I use the same like tiles for the wall and the floor in there, and I think it helped bring together all the colors, if that makes sense. And I think I was having a hard time with that to begin with because this is an interesting color palette. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't think I've ever really used that particular swatch for the wallpaper. So that was a whole lot of fun, like doing something new. And I ended up actually doing kind of like a walk-in large shower situation here. And I think it turned out really lovely. And we end up having like the toilet and that little like cubby area over there with some storage, and we end up having like a double sink over here as well. And I honestly really love the way the bathroom turned out. That sounds so silly. That sounds weird, but I don't know what it was. I think it was just the colors and the lighting and everything. Everything just kind of mixed together really well. And it at that point, I think the build was starting to come together a little bit more for me, which I feel like I start builds and then I'm like, I don't know where this is going, and I don't feel like I know. And if it doesn't like come to me, I kind of have to stop and come back to it, which is kind of what happened with this one. And luckily the second time I did it, it kind of came back to me. Like I figured out what I wanted to do and it worked out pretty nicely. And I try to do some like weird platform thing in the shower, but then I remembered since this is an apartment, like it's hard enough to upload an apartment to the gallery anyways, because you kind of have to delete some walls out or do some like other things where you like delete a wall but then like you replace it and like all these weird things just to get it up on the gallery. And you have to get rid of platforms as well when you do that, and that just causes issues. So even though I feel like I'm always inspired to use platforms when I'm doing apartment builds, they just don't upload well. So anyways, that's a long story for saying I didn't use a platform in here. But just adding in a bunch of clutter here on this like makeshift like shelf thing that I made, and just adding in a few photos on the wall along with, I believe I put a towel rack over there as well, because I was like, your sim probably needs like a towel, when they shower, like that kind of thing, just like a normal thing to have. And I did end up using these lights that came with Journey to Batu, which I will say, like, I kind of like the lights. They're really interesting. And again, thinking like they picked them up while like they were traveling. And I mean, who knows, like maybe it's a couple, maybe there's two authors, or I mean, I have no idea. Maybe one of them is like an interior designer. I don't know. I really was mostly thinking about just like one sim in particular, at least one of the sims that were to live here. And of course you can have one or two, like I said, do whatever you want here. And then just adding in some clutter on this bookshelf. And you may have seen like that in the entryway, like those like horizontal like wood pieces that ended up there. Like somebody in my chat actually had an idea of putting something there, which was really cute. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, it was so hard to get those there. Well, at least the one that is like more inside of the apartment, it wasn't hard to do, because the issue with those is they like to snap to walls. So I had to get rid of the walls around it in order to place it how I wanted to. But the issue was the other one that's like on the exterior wall of the apartment, I can't delete that wall because it's, you know, the exterior wall. So I ended up having to use Tool to like move it so I could actually get it where I wanted it to. And all of that was cut out. That footage was not there, but I just want you to know that it took forever. And I just want you to know that because like you see these cool things and all of that, and I don't want people to think that like, I don't know, like it's just like super easy and it comes naturally, like that kind of thing. Like it took me so long, y'all. I had to like look up like a little tutorial. I'm sitting there on stream and I'm like, does anybody know how to do this? I need to look up a little video to try to figure out what to do. It was just kind of funny. Like all of like my whole chat was like, well, what if you try this? What if you do that? And like, it just, I usually only use Tool like if I have to, and usually it's only to just size items, not to actually like move them, if that makes sense. So I really had no idea what I was doing, but I just was really attached to the idea of having those there. So I was like, I have to do that. And I will say I did have this fireplace here. I do end up taking it out because it just, I had a hard time fitting in like a dresser kind of thing in here, and I felt like they needed it. So we end up getting rid of it, but I do end up putting a fireplace in the office area. So we still have one. It's just not here in the bedroom. And I end up using that alcove as like a built-in closet area. So I end up using the stuff from Dream Home Decorator there, and I think it worked out really nicely. And again, I wanted to pick things that, I don't know, like, you know, they picked up while they were traveling and all of that kind of good stuff. And so if some of the items seem a little bit random, that's kind of why, like that was kind of what I was going for. But anyways, just adding a little bit of clutter in here. And then I think I add some pictures, yeah, over there in the corner. I want to say I swap it out for the other ones that look like paintings. I don't know. You'll see what I mean. Yeah, that one. That one was so pretty. I thought that was so lovely, like something that they got maybe while they were traveling. And I guess also I should have put maybe an easel in here, because who knows, maybe one of them is an artist, and I don't know, like maybe they travel and do art and write and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't know, it just sounded like such a cute idea to me. And then over in the office here, we end up having, I put like one desk, and then we have like the little seating area with the fireplace. And I felt like maybe for this sim, like writing and everything was just really important to them, so they used the room that has like all the windows in it as their office, which I think makes this apartment's a little bit difficult because of the like way the windows are placed. Like I had a little bit of a hard time at the beginning, and I feel like every time I use this apartment I kind of have a hard time when I do it, but I think it came together. And I really love that like big double door like leading into the office. You know, again, I guess I wanted to give a sense that like that's what this sim prioritizes in their life, is like their writing and their work. And that's just something that they really enjoy. And then I end up putting these posters on the wall that we got from the Book Nook kit. And I was thinking maybe that's like their book covers or something, you know what I mean? And they had them like blown up and put on the wall. And this is the fireplace that does catch fire with that sim, but like I said, it's replaced and it's already up on the gallery and it's all good to go. But I just thought it was so funny, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a really hard time with this space. Like I don't know what it was, like with the corner and the space above the fireplace, I don't know, it caused me so many issues. Like I end up swapping things and doing a bunch of different items, but I think it finally comes together. And I don't know what is with that particular plant, but I've noticed it has had some like weird shadowing when I've been using it, and again, part of it could be because I do use reshade like when I'm building, which also, like as a note, at the beginning of the build, the colors may have looked a little bit different because I don't use it while I'm streaming, but I do when I'm like on my own, like just building by myself. So in case the colors look a little bit different, that's kind of what's going on there. And then just adding in a small living area here. And I figured, that they may like entertaining too, but that's not necessarily maybe their priority kind of thing. And I try to do some weird thing here where I put the plates like that. Oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? What is that thing? It's like is that like a buffet thing? Oh my goodness. Anyways, the thing with the plates. I tried to like put that in there, and then like I end up moving it. Like I even kept the bar stools because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep that. And I end up not doing that. And because I wasn't sure whether I was going to have room for a dining table or not, but I do. We do have a table in here, and we actually end up putting the stand-up piano in here as well, which I thought was really fun. I don't use it very often, and I guess I don't think about it because we didn't get that item until really recently with the get together. I was going to call it a kit. No, the expansion pack. I was supposed to say that's definitely not a kit. That is an expansion pack. But I end up putting that in here because I figured maybe that's something that they like to do as well. And then I end up adding like a big pile of books next to that chair, and I end up just cluttering things kind of everywhere. And I honestly was really surprised that I was able to put in a dining table here in this living area, believe it or not. I feel like when you see it, when it gets put in, like you won't be sure whether or not your Sims can get around it, but your Sims can. Like I said, this has been play tested. Like you shouldn't have any issues like downloading it and playing with it and all that kind of good stuff. Of course, unless the Sims does something weird and they just decide all of a sudden it doesn't work, which I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it happens sometimes. Like I'll download something, or like I'll even like go back to one of my old builds and I'm like, why doesn't this work? Like this is just so silly. But anyways, so just adding some pieces kind of all over the place, and then adding in like another rug for the table we're going to put here in a little bit. And I end up, I think, sizing down those rugs that are in the living room to make that space a little bit smaller, because I guess the rugs kind of had a footprint that was larger than the actual like couch and living space, if that makes sense. So we end up kind of making that a little bit smaller, and then adding in like another rug here. And again, like it is intentionally just kind of like, seemingly random pieces, but just things that I felt like they kind of liked while they were traveling. And then just adding in a little more clutter here. And then in the entranceway, I end up just putting, entranceway kind of things, and maybe some boxes by the door, since maybe they haven't gotten their mail in a little while, so they have like a whole pile of things that they have to go through there like by the front door. And I end up putting like a small seat and like a mirror as well over in this area. I figured, when they're leaving, they may want to like look at themselves, I don't know, before they leave. Of course, again, this is just like what I would envision like a person wanting to do. That's not necessarily something a Sim would do, but I just like thinking about some of those kinds of things. And then again, using some of those Journey to Batu lamps here, I guess, I don't know, ceiling lights, and then just adding in a little bit of clutter here in the kitchen. Just, I figured, also as a writer, maybe they, run off of coffee, and so they need a coffee maker. And of course, if the coffee maker annoys you in the game, you can take it out, because I know Sims like are obsessed. Sims are obsessed with coffee makers, the ice cream maker, the popcorn maker. Like, I don't think I've really ever used an ice cream maker or a popcorn maker in a build. I think technically I did I kind of created a werewolf like movie theater. And so I think I wanted to put the popcorn machines in there, but I ended up putting the ice cream machines. Anyways, it's a cute build, but I just thought that was kind of funny, but I didn't figure it out until after it was already posted. But anyways, if you ever downloaded it, just FYI, it's ice cream and not popcorn. But just adding in a few last, minute touches here just to really make this place feel like just really lived in. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye, everybody.